Hi guys, welcome to Skylark Music Studios. I'm here today at the Drummers Workshop to talk about cymbals. In particular, I want to give you a heads up on what I think is important when you're selecting your first cymbals. I want to talk about the types of cymbals that are available, how they'd fit into the genre that you play, and maybe talk a little bit about budget, which is something that I'll be dipping in and out of over the course of the video, because that's quite an important consideration when you're looking at these cymbals. Now, one of the first things to consider is the cymbals that you might need in a set, and there's sort of become a standardized cymbal set, particularly for the beginners, and that would be to buy a 14-inch hi-hat, a 16-inch crash, and a 20-inch ride. That's sort of become the norm. Now sometimes the crash and the ride are replaced by dual-purpose crash ride cymbal, which may be an 18-inch in diameter, and that cymbal literally does what it says on the tin. It's heavy enough to be able to ride on it, but it's also light enough to be able to crash on it, and that's why the 18-inch is a good size for that. Generally speaking though, if you've got the budget, you're going to go 14-inch hi-hat, 16-inch crash, 20-inch ride. Now the thing is, you've just earned your money, you've rocked into Drummers Workshop and you've said to John, what do I need? I need a set of cymbals, guide me. He's going to throw some cymbal sets in your direction, which come in the form of box sets. That's one of the easiest and quickest way of buying a set of cymbals when you first start. The work is all done for you, but the choice is less, of course. What you'll find is that you may be offered the choice of weight. For example, you might get a medium set, which is sort of the lighter stuff, or a rock set or heavy set, which again would obviously be the heavier stuff. Now at that point, you're not getting the option of choosing the different types of weights of cymbal that you might like. For example, I like to have sort of a medium heavy hi-hat, as thin a crash as I can possibly get away with, and a heavier ride, medium to heavy ride. Sometimes, depending on the music, I might want to crash the ride. My ride in particular is crashable. It's a Zildjian K, but I also have some Peisty rides which are a little bit heavier, and they work better for sort of rockier music. Now, as I say, the thing with the box set is the work's done for you. You've got three cymbals. You've got the hi-hats, the crash, and the ride, and they're either going to be heavy or light. The advantage of a box set though is that you may end up with some freebies. Quite often they'll throw in an extra cymbal or a cymbal bag or stick bag or something, something to sort of entice you into buying that set. I prefer to go down the route of individual cymbals, and you can do that again on a lower budget. If you go for the more of the sort of brass type cymbal, they tend to be lower in price. That would be something along the lines of like a Peisty 101 or a Zildjian ZBT or some of the lower Meinls or Sabians. You could then move up into the sort of bronze area, and those sounds are a little bit more sophisticated. And Peisty PST5s, a good bronze cymbal, sort of starter bronze cymbal. Some of the Zildjians as well, they're also very, very nice. You then might move up onto individual professional cymbals, of which you're going to have a lot more choice, and the sounds are particularly sophisticated at this end. You can buy thin, heavy, sort of all sorts of denomination of cymbal, which is going to give you exactly the sound you want. So firstly, let's look at these hi-hats. Now, if I'm going to use a medium to heavy hi-hat, the thing you're going to be looking at is select a set of hi-hat cymbals where the bottom cymbal is slightly heavier than the top cymbal. This is generally a good rule to stick by, and it will give you a nice sounding set of hi-hats, even in the lower price brackets. So if you buy like a brass hi-hat, still listen to the individual cymbals. Now the way you're going to tell if the bottom cymbal is heavier is it's going to be higher in pitch. So you literally want to have the two cymbals side by side, hit one, hit the other, just with the tip of the stick on the camber of the cymbal, and that's going to give you the pitches. The higher pitch should be the bottom cymbal, and then you're on a winner. Crash wise, I'm going to go for medium to thin, and that's because I like the sound to open up or have a whoosh sort of quite early on when I hit it. So if I hit it softly, it will speak quickly. This is the terminology. Hit the cymbal softly and it speaks quickly. Ride cymbal, I'm going to go for something sort of medium to heavy. That's going to cover most options and most genres. So with a ride, I'm going to be hitting sort of on the top of the cymbal with the tip of the stick, and that's going to give me a nice ping sound. And subsequently, my set of cymbals should cover pretty much every eventuality at this point that's thrown at me as a beginner, because you're going to be doing all different styles. Now, if you want to get more specific, we're going to look at sort of maybe a heavier cymbal for a rock genre, or a lighter cymbal for a jazz genre, or whatever else. Something in the middle, sort of if you're sort of playing just regular R&B gigs, whatever. I tend to still try to go as light as I possibly can, because the cymbals, when they're heavier, they can be a little bit more gongy and a little bit sort of just a little bit less pleasing to my ear. That's not for everybody. You have to hit them particularly hard. Now, I don't play that hard, so I like the cymbal to be thinner so that it speaks more quickly, and I get that whoosh sound without having to really lay into it. But if you're playing rock music, you're going to need heavier cymbals. There's no two ways about it. Otherwise, you're going to break the cymbals. So the next thing I want to look at is maybe how we hit the cymbals, because this is quite an important consideration. Now, I've been playing drums for about 250 years, and in all that time, the one thing I see with a lot of people when they first start to play is that they hit the cymbals incorrectly. Now, if you hit the cymbal correctly, you can make a poor cymbal sound half decent, actually. And if you hit a very good cymbal incorrectly, you can make a very good cymbal sound quite poor. I'm going to show you what I mean about how to hit the cymbals right now. Now, with a hi-hat, you're going to play, let's take this one here. This is a PST5. You're going to want to play predominantly on the top of the cymbal with the tip of the stick. Okay? So I'm hitting the camber of the cymbal with the tip of the stick. Now, you might find that for a slightly heavier sound, you're going to go for the shoulder of the stick on the side of the cymbal. And of course, when you sort of know a little bit more about drumming, been playing a while, you might find that you're using the bell and all sorts of things on the hi-hats. You know, you can get all sorts of sounds out of these things. But that's a general rule. Tip of the stick on top on the camber, and use the edge of the stick, shoulder of the stick, sorry, on the edge to give you a slightly heavier sound. Now, with a ride cymbal, I'm going to be going for predominantly tip of the stick on the top of the cymbal, on the camber of the cymbal. Another sound would be the bell of the cymbal, which is going to be predominantly shoulder. Okay, so that's going to give me this ping sound. Okay, or the bell sound, which is a little bit more penetrating, and that's played with the shoulder of the stick right on the top of the bell there, or as I say, with the tip of the stick right on the top. With a lighter ride, you could also use the same technique you'd use for a crash, and you could do a glancing blow, and that will give you a crash. But if the ride is heavy, it's going to sound like a gong, so you don't really want to go down that route. Now, with the crashes, we use this lovely Formula 602 for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a glancing blow off of the shoulder of the stick on the side of the cymbal. I don't want too sharp an angle, and I don't want too soft an angle. I just want, just about right, just sort of 30-40 degrees, and a glancing blow. Now, that's a gorgeous cymbal, and if I play it on top, it sounds terrible. So if you hit the cymbal correctly, you will find that you get a good sound. You'll get the right sound for the cymbal, and you can make as I say, a cheap cymbal sound good. Alternatively, you hit it wrong, you can make a good cymbal sound cheap. So that's where I'm coming from with my cymbal setup. For the purposes of this video, I've been looking predominantly at the piety cymbals, but that's really just convenience because I'm standing at this end of the cymbal wall. Actually, John has some other cymbals. There are some Istanbuls down here, there are some obviously Zildjians, there are some UFIPs, and there are some Meinls. Now, all of those brands are fantastic brands. I mean, Meinl do some lovely cymbals these days. UFIP, Italian brand, have always done some great cymbals. And of course Sabian, which is an offshoot of Zildjian, one of the Zildjian brothers who basically went to Canada and started his own company. Um, they make also fantastic cymbals, and if you like Zildjians, actually you'd love the Sabians because they're very similar. Um, those are also, you know, all of those brands are worth considering. They all have different price points as well. Meinl in particular do some very nice low end cymbals, which I think easily rival the Paistis and the Zildjians. So they're one thing to look at if you're, you know, if you're sort of on a tight budget. So guys, just to summarise, you see where I'm coming from with the cymbals. I'm looking at getting the thinnest cymbal I can to do the job. But of course, as I say, if you're playing heavier music, you're going to be going for heavier cymbals anyway. But the thinnest cymbal you can, medium to heavy ride, medium to heavy hi-hats, make sure that bottom cymbal is heavier, because then it's going to give you a nice chick sound. Um, the one thing I did want to sort of quickly say is budget-wise, if we're looking at brass cymbals, down at the sort of PST3 or 101 area or Zildjian ZBT type things, you do get less choice. That's not to say they're bad cymbals, but you get less choice. And in the boxes, you're going to be sort of, you're going to get what you're given, you know, and you don't get the opportunity to mix and match as much. You know, it will be a heavy set or it will be a light set. So that's a big consideration. As you move up into these bronze, as I say, the PSD5s or sort of Zildjian ZHTs or something, you're then going to have a lot more option. You'll get the thin or the medium or the rock denomination on the cymbal. That's going to tell you how heavy the cymbal is roughly, and you can then start to make a choice, particularly about how you want to hear your cymbals coming back at you. You know, when you move up into this sort of top end bronze area, you're going to spend a lot more money. You might be looking at 700, 800, £900 for three cymbals, but you are going to get the choice and you're going to get exactly what you want. You know, if you're gonna go for like a sort of a heavy ride, a medium ride, um, a medium hi hat, a sound edge hi hat, all sorts of things, thin crashes, rock crashes, you name it. And any choice anything you want really, you can put a lovely cymbal set together, but you're going to spend a lot more money. Um, you are governed by budget, of course. That's the same with everything. I would say spend as much as you can on your cymbals, and don't be afraid to experiment a little bit. But just bear in mind that to get the best sound, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best sound that the guy recommends in the shop. It's what you hear in your head, okay? Go for what you hear and make sure it's the sound that you want. Cymbals have got to speak quickly and just sound warm and pleasant, okay? Um, there are other things to consider later on, like effects. You've got chinas, you've got splashes, you've got all sorts of things you can add to this sort of little set. You may even just want an extra crash, an 18. You know, dress it up a bit. So you've got two options on crashes. You know, some of the kits come with extra cymbal stands these days, or you can obviously buy cymbal stands. So you can add, but that's for another video. In the meantime, you've got your hi-hats, you've got your crash, and you've got your ride. You've pretty much got everything you need to get going, and you now know how to play them and make them sound really good. I hope that was helpful, guys. I'm going to see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.